Alright. Hello, my name is Bill Diede. For my projects, I did a presentation on the Washburn Center for Children. I forgot to mention, I'm in your 594L class. I don't know how many summer classes you have. But yeah, I did the Washburn Center for Children. It's out in Minneapolis. That's not good. Well, what I'll be covering today, just some general facts about the building. And then, of course, I'll be talking about the lead scorecard and where all the points came from that this company got. And then each of the credits earned and how is what I'll be talking about. Alright, so some just general facts. The Washburn Center is the leading mental health care facility in Minnesota with 2,700 children per year treated. And they like to talk about how many families they treated. You know, I mean, it is the children getting the help in these mental health facilities, but it is the families that truly have a huge change. They needed a larger center. That was the whole point of this construction. They needed a larger center just because they're having more and more patients come in. So the new building is 55,000 square feet. It was completed in November 2014, so it's a year and a half old, if my math is right. It's version 3 LEED. It achieved gold, and 62 out of 110 points. And then this project, you know, I couldn't find an exact number, but it was anywhere from 23 to 25 million dollars, so 24.5 million, pretty close. Alright, so the lead scorecard, I won't bore you and read exactly what I wrote down on here, but most of the points they got were from sustainable sites, and energy and atmosphere, and indoor and environmental quality. And I'll be talking about all these points, but indoor environmental quality was kind of interesting just because I feel like these points are very easy to get, and I'll kind of talk about it why when I get there. Alright, so let's begin with sustainable sites. The first prereq, pollution prevention, to reduce pollution of construction activities. And I did this by creating an erosion and sedimentation control plan. First credit, site selection to avoid developing on environmentally sensitive lands. And what they did was they did not develop on any prohibited lands, such as prime farmland, or like you said in class, the previously undeveloped, which is lower than 5 feet from a 100-year floodline. So they just selected a site which was previously already developed. I mean, there is something already there, but it is not an environmentally sensitive land. Development density and community connectivity, I got 5 out of 5 points on this. The channel development, the intent is to channel development urban areas with existing infrastructure. And they chose option 1, that they constructed on a previously developed site because the building was already there. And due to the fact that it's in Minneapolis, community connectivity is not that tough. The community has to be within a density of 60,000 square feet per net acre. And if you've been in a big city, Chicago, Minneapolis, anything like that, it's not that hard to see all these sky rises and whatnot are going to make that credit pretty easy. Alright. Credit 3, brownfield redevelopment, to rehabilitate damaged sites where environment complicates development. And how they got this credit was that this site was actually developed on a site defined as a brownfield. And even though it was previously developed, since the last one that they made was on a brownfield, it still counted for them. 4.1, alternative transportation, public access. And the whole goal of this one is to reduce pollution and land development impacts from automobiles. And the way they did this, the development had to be within 1/2 mile of public transportation. So anything from trains to buses, subways, like that sort of a thing. And again, it's in downtown Minneapolis. So I gave a picture right here. I doubt the camera can see it, but maybe if you look closer at my PowerPoint, you can see that I showed just 3 bus stops around the building. I believe the building is right here, and these yellow ones are the bus stops. And I mapped out the length, and it was 0.05 miles from one bus stop to the building. So you know it is very feasible to get there via public transportation, due to the fact that it is in Minneapolis, but also because I'll be talking about the parking spots later. There is not much parking in downtown Minneapolis. If you're familiar with the area, it's on Nicollet and 24th, I think, and it is just a zoo. And, trying to park down there, whether it's meters or it can get expensive if you go in ramped and whatnot. Unless you're a staff member, it gets pricey. So having this public transportation is invaluable. Alright, credit 4.3. Alternative transportation, low emitting and FEVs, reduce pollution and land development impacts from automobiles. So, like I was saying, parking's tough, but they needed to have at least 5% of the total spots go towards FEVs, and they had 15%, which came out to be about 5 spots. So if 5 spots is 15%, you can imagine there's not too many spots in the first place. But it was kind of cool to see that they gave 15% to these FEVs. They are really trying to help the economy, which is cool. Alright, 5.2. Maximize open space to promote biodiversity by providing a high ratio of open space to footprint size. 46% of the site is vegetated open space, and they only needed 20%. And I thought that was pretty cool because vegetated open space in downtown Minneapolis, like you always say about the heat island effect, these places they're really transforming into trying to help the economy more and the environment. And it is kind of cool to see that 46% of the site is vegetated open space. Alright, credit 6.1, stormwater design, quantity control. Limit natural hydrology disruption by reducing impervious cover, increasing infiltration, eliminate pollution from stormwater runoff, la da da. They got this point pretty easily by just having 2 biofiltration basins near the site. Alright, prereq 1 of water efficiency, water use reduction. So the intent is to increase water efficiency within a building and reduce the water supply burden. And what they did with this, it's just a prereq, but also I'll tell you in a minute here. They have low flow water fixtures, toilets, sinks, showers that reduce water consumption by 35%. And then you can see on credit 3, water use reduction has the exact same intent as the prereq. And this table that they gave shows that if you have 35% reduction, you get 3 points. So that was kind of cool. Alright, energy and atmosphere. Prereq 1, fundamental commissioning of building energy systems. So verify energy related systems are installed correctly. In order to do this, you need to have a commissioning authority, and this project had one. So they got the prereq set so they can move on to the next one. Minimum energy performance. Establish the minimum level of energy efficiency for the building. And what they needed to have was at least a 10% energy improvement in savings, and what they had was a 28%. So they easily got that prereq, which will help them in the future here. I'll tell you in a minute. Prereq 3, fundamental refrigerant management, reduce the ozone depletion. What they did with this was they used 0 CFCs. Alright, so for credit 1, optimize energy performance. So achieve levels of energy performance beyond the prereq to minimize environmental impacts. So since they went beyond that 10%, they got 28%. You look at this table, 28% goes down, they get 9 points. So 9 points out of 19, which they could have done more, but 9's not bad. Alright, credit 2, on-site renewable energy. And this one is all about renewable energy, obviously, and what they did. The intent is to increase on-site energy self-supply to reduce environmental impacts. So obviously you want to make all this self-creating energy to reduce any negative impacts it'll make. What they did was they had solar panels. And, I was a little bit disappointed to see this because they have 3% renewable energy, which gives them 2 points. But again, going along with the heat island effect, the downtown Minneapolis gets a ton of sun. And I feel like you could really use solar panels more effectively than just getting 3%. And given, yeah, they're probably super expensive. But I think just me, I think it'd be worth it. Alright, where are we at? Credit 3. Enhanced commissioning. To begin the commissioning process early in the design process. And pretty much all they had said on their little website spiel was that they had a CA or commissioning authority to ensure that everything was running smoothly. And apparently with his go, then everything was all set. Credit 4, enhanced refrigerant management. Refrigerant management, that's a tough one. Reduce ozone depletion and comply with Montreal Protocol. And they pretty much did this by just using refrigerants with low global warming impact and very low ozone depletion potential. Credit 5, measurements and verification. So provide an ongoing accountability of building energy consumption. And that was also done by the commissioning authority. Alright, So materials and resources, prereq 1, storage and collection of recyclables to reduce waste generated by the buildings, occupants deposed in landfills. So pretty much all this one requires the building is to have spaces to recycle stuff, so like glass, paper, bottles, cans, that kind of thing. When you go around any building in Iowa State, they have a garbage, then they have a recycling right next to it. They may have 4 recycling bins right next to it because they got to get their cardboard, glass, cans, bottles. So pretty much all they needed to do for this prereq was to make that accessible to the public and make it pretty obvious where to put their garbage. Credit 2, construction waste management. Divert construction debris from landfills / incineration facilities back to the manufacturing process. And I thought this was a really cool fact that I found, that over 95% of the construction waste was diverted from the landfill. And they needed 75% to get 2 points, which I thought was pretty high. 75% just seems like a lot to not put into a landfill, but to have 95, that's impressive. 5% of the materials went to the landfill. And yep, they got 2 points for that. And we're at credit 4. Recycled content, increased demand for recycled building materials. And of the materials used in this building, 18% of them were recycled content. Credit 5, regional materials. Support the use of indigenous resources to reduce environmental impacts from transportation. And this was kind of interesting to me. You know, a lot of these materials come from way far away, and what they did was that 22% of the materials cost were sourced within 500 miles. So they got 2 out of 2 points for doing that, for making it at least trying to take into consideration the amount of transportation that it takes to get all their materials there. So within 500 miles, 22% of the materials came from there. Credit 7, certified wood. They got 1 point for this, for encouraging environmentally responsible forest management. And 76%, they needed 50% of the wood is certified by the FSC, the Forest Stewardship Council. And again, that just goes into showing how much they're caring about the environment when they make this. They're using really good materials, really close, and they're using very safe materials. Alright. Indoor environmental quality, prereq 1. Minimum indoor air quality performance to enhance indoor air quality in building, contribute to well-being of the occupants. And what they did for this is they had an HVAC system designed to ensure optimal thermal comfort. Prereq 2, prevent occupants and indoor surfaces of the building from smoke. And it is illegal to smoke next to this building, in this building, or within 25 feet of this building. And going back to the first one, it sounds kind of funny saying ensure optimal thermal comfort. But you know, I went into this building, and given the fact that it is a hospital type of thing, it's a mental facility, it is very, you go into a hospital and they're treating cancer patients, you're never complaining about how hot it is in there, you know, because they're trying to make it easy for the staff, easy for the patients in there, especially in a mental health facility. You don't want people running around there so hot and whatnot. It was, being in there, it really did, like, the thermal comfort, it was pretty high, and it was neat to be in there. I'll talk more about my experience when I went in the building actually in a minute. Alright, so credit 1, outdoor air delivery monitoring. Provide ventilation system monitoring to comfort the occupants. And what they had was they just had permanent monitoring systems, and they were installed. Alright, credit 2, increased ventilation. Provide outdoor ventilation to improve the air quality. 30% more fresh outdoor air was brought into the building in some way. So they had 30% of just fresh air coming into the building. Credit 4.1, low emitting materials, adhesives, and sealants. That's in order to reduce indoor air contaminants for well-being of the installers and occupants. And again, well, they used 13 MERV filters incorporated in design, and the toxic cleaning products were separately exhausted. So pretty much just by having a safe environment for the patients, they're getting points for just pretty much not being stupid, not having toxic materials out to the public. 4.2, kind of going along the same thing. Actually, let me go back here. that MERV filters was for credit 3.1. For 4.1, they used low emitting adhesives, paints, floorings, and woods that complied with the VOC limits. So it kind of goes along with what I was saying, is they're using these low VOC and low toxic materials pretty much so that the installers, one, and then second, the occupants don't have to deal with any health issues afterwards. And credit 4.2 to 4.4, they're all the same thing. They have the exact same intent. They're just asking for different things to be safe. The paint, the coatings, the flooring, and then the wood products. So they use low VOC products throughout the building of this. Alright, thermal comfort and design, credit 7.1. Provide a comfortable thermal environment for the occupants, and they did this by meeting the ASHRAE standard 55-2004. And something funny about credit 7.2, to provide the assessment of building thermal level over time, is that they did this by achieving credit 7.1. So it's funny, if you get this credit, you're going to get 7.2 as well, at least in this building's case. Alright, 8.1, daylight and views. Daylight. Provide the building occupants connection between the indoors and outdoors with daylight and views. And again, like I said, I went into this building and it really was amazing. It kind of reminded me of kind of the biorenewables complex, how much windows there are. And I was just curious how the building is even standing up. You know, it's almost surrounded by windows, and it really is nice for kids to be able to look outside and have all this daylight coming in on a nice sunny day. It makes it a very welcoming environment, and it's warm, and yeah, I think it really helps with the mood in there too. You know, with all the, you know, there's not walls everywhere. Instead, it's light coming in. And for this project in particular, with mental patients, it is very important to keep a fun atmosphere, and I think that really helps. Anyways, 96% of the regularly occupied spaces were illuminated by daylight, and they only needed 75%, but they got their point for that, for the daylight one. And going along with that, the views one, to provide the building occupants the connection between indoors and outdoors of daylight and views, 92%, including the therapeutic rooms. So even places where the kids would go to get the help they needed, those rooms would have views to the outside. And they needed 90%, and they had 92, so they got that one. Alright, innovation in design. The intent is to provide design teams the opportunity to achieve exemplary performance above the requirements set by LEED. And pretty much a way to do this is to achieve significant environmental performance using a strategy not addressed by LEED. So something they did, I believe, was the 2 biofiltration basins. Credit 2, to support the design required by LEED to streamline the application and certification process. At least one principal participant of the project team was a LEED accredited professional. And then the stuff I had the least amount of information on was the regional priority, but you can kind of see that they doubled up on these points. They already got 8.1, credit 2 for materials and resources. So it was kind of cool to see that you can double dip and get points if you really dig deep and see all the things that LEED can give you. So what was covered? Just general facts about the Washburn Center for Children. Like I said, it's in Minneapolis, and it's very accessible to anyone. The LEED scorecard, I kind of showed you where all the points are coming from. And lastly, how each credit was earned and how. And something I forgot to say was that I went and volunteered for them, and it was really cool, though most of the work they do is extremely confidential, as you can imagine, but I went there and helped set up some games out, and they're huge. They have a pretty big yard for being in downtown Minneapolis, and helped set up some games for the kids, and they were kicking around soccer balls and stuff. It was kind of neat to see, and I never thought, you know, being assigned this project that I even care, but it was kind of cool to, you know, dig deep, find a building close to me, and then go see it and learn about it a little bit more. Unfortunately, I didn't really talk to anyone that knew what was going on engineering-wise or LEED-wise for that matter, but it was cool to see the environment of that place, and it is a very good establishment, and I recommend you go see it. Alright, any questions? Rachie, you got questions? No? Alright. That's all I got for you. Thank you very much. There's my references.